Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show. It is I and also Ice Water. This is our hiatus. We're saying goodbye for the summer. We'll be back in September when football season starts, but we usually do one last show and then we kick back on in the summer, try to prepare for you all coming this fall with football. But we're going to start off with the NBA Finals with the Denver Nuggets winning 4-1 against the Miami Heat. And one of the things that I noticed, Ice, when I was watching this series is that Miami seemed to run down and they started to play like the team they beat in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Boston Celtics throwing up threes. It almost seemed like they knew they couldn't battle inside with the Denver Nuggets, so they started to try to shoot from the outside, and they just didn't have enough. It made me wonder, what would this team look like with Oladipo on that squad to give them some more offense, because their bench wasn't up to par with the Denver bench. And then Denver's starting five was so productive. Even Michael Porter, who had some letdown games in this series, started to come back later in the series and win this game. But I was hoping that people got to see the greatness of the Joker in this series, and he didn't let me down. Him and Murray are one of the best tandems I've ever seen in the finals. And they were putting up numbers, historic numbers of tandems of old. And to me, it's a feel-good story with the Denver Nuggets winning, and especially with the Joker getting the MVP and the championship. Because Embiid was always crying about the MVP, MVP, MVP. Well, sit home and enjoy the MVP. But if I was a player, I want to be MVP in the finals, because that means your team is hoisting up the trophy at the end of the series.
It was an opportunity to watch the Joker up close and personal on the national stage, and Murray played well. But the one thing when I watched this series is I think you got to give kudos, and I said this before. I thought it was going to be a determining factor for it's going to be a determining factor for Denver, and their supporting cast was amazing, right? Supporting cast went a long way to stepping up. About Bruce Brown, you mentioned about Gordon. Gordon stepped up. Michael Porter Jr. as well. KCP, right? Mm-hmm. Caldwell Pope stepped up. Their supporting cast, I think, is the reason why they won so easily. I mean, take away from the monumental numbers that the Joker put up, along with Murray stepping up too, but their supporting cast simply were better. They were a better team overall than Miami could ever be. Miami had a lot of holes. You had, for instance, in their offense as to the way things were coming off. And I think literally the Denver team overall is the reason why, playing as a team is the reason why they were able to beat Miami 4-1. Like you said, David possibly had Oladipo. You had Vincent that was trying to play a little. He was in and out. Kevin Love tried to do a little something off the bench. But yeah, inconsistency with Russ. I mean, if he wasn't shooting threes and not hitting threes, he was the liability. They had a lot of inconsistency for a lot of players that were doing well prior in the playoff, right? So with that being said, I know why Denver won. I see why Denver won. But again, like you said, the Joker was amazing. He was. And Murray as well. But I think as great as we talk about them, you have to talk about collectively how good that team was. Also, too, the coach. The coach really kept them on point. He knew exactly what was moving, how to move forward. And they literally they're a well-oiled machine. I questioned whether or not they were going to be able to handle it and keep this going throughout the finals. And they did not disappoint. They stepped up to the challenge and got the job done.
Yeah, I have to give kudos to Jimmy Butler. He tried his best, and I think some people were saying he was hurt throughout the series. I was telling a guy that I know who likes to talk sports, and he was asking me who I thought was going to win the series, and I'm like, Denver, probably in the gentleman's sweep. But I'm like, the clock is running out on Cinderella with the number 8 seed. I mean, they got in the playoffs. They played a murderous row of teams to get to the finals, and you could just see that once they got to Denver, that first game, they were just gassed going to 7 games with Boston. And you could see it last night that they were, or Monday night, that they were in that fourth quarter, they just had nothing left. Jimmy Butler had two critical mistakes at the end of the game that probably cost them the game, with throwing up a three really quickly, and then a turnover when he was stuck trying to go to the basket, didn't have anywhere to go with it, and then threw the ball away. Gotta give him credit. He's a fighter, he's a dog. I just think that they needed more firepower. They only scored 89 points in that last game, and both teams weren't shooting high percentage, but you could see that Denver clamped down on defense just enough to keep the Miami Heat from overtaking them in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with that 100%. And you think about Miami with 7 undrafted players, right, on that team who really played their hearts out, but there was a lot of inconsistency, right, and them not being able to get things done, particularly against a team like Denver, who really came in, like you said, they're 8 to 9 guys that they ran across there, even with the young what's his name, the
Ron from Kansas.
yeah. I mean, man, really,
Yeah,
he was
had a
phenomenal.
breakout game. Yeah,
I mean, he hustled, and those are things that you never see coming, right? If you don't have an answer for it, it makes it even more difficult. And I think you just saw the way that the Denver collectively played as a team. They just clearly outmatched Miami. And you mentioned about Jimmy Butler being hurt. He did all he could do earlier. And people may say, oh, well, he can't win the big one, though. I think Miami's going to have to look into it and maybe start to find somebody else that can support Jimmy Butler. And they might have to make some changes with the team as the roster overall. But, I heard a couple of things I've heard that, and they probably can't because it probably costs too much money. But I heard that Washington's looking to possibly listening to deals for Bradley Beal.
mm-hmm.
And I think Damian Lillard may be on his way out somewhere. And
that's what I hear.
Yeah, so with that being said, if I'm Miami, I'm looking closely to see what makes most sense. It might be a better fit and where they won't have to give everything away, but the kitchen sink to possibly improve their team overall. Because if you had the two cornerstones in Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, if you can work around that and maybe get another star, somebody else that can come in with a little bit a cheaper price, and they can bring in some other people, they might be a little bit better as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at Lowry, and he's probably on the chopping block. They're going to bring one of those guys in there, especially at point guard. One of the things that I did notice is that Jordan gets a title. He's played for the Clippers, and then also Reggie Jackson on that Denver team, and they both get rings. You didn't see too much of them in this series, but they get rings, and I'm happy for that. Let's go to NFL news. DeAndre Hopkins is visiting the Patriots as we speak today and tomorrow. And this is a stable organization. I don't know if the quarterback is up to the task if they get DeAndre Hopkins to get the ball to him. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I can see why DeAndre Hopkins would go there because you want to cover all bases, right? You don't know who else is coming around. They might give you a shot. We know that we know definitely that New England is very interested. They would love to have him. But I also think DeAndre Hopkins wants to go to a place where he might have a chance to try to at least make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So granted, with his troubles or whatever you want to call them, miscues in his career, I think he still wants to win. I think he still feels like he has enough talent to provide some firepower to a true team, which is really surprising to me that he didn't even think about somewhere like the Kansas City, who's been all in on those type of players lately, right? So, and maybe he is, I'm not sure, but New England, I think it's I probably would be looking at other options. One, because of the factor that you're not sure how far they're going to go or advance, right? How many games are they going to win? If you just want to check, you want to play football, clearly that's where you want to go. That's where you can go because Belichick would love to have him because he's a competitor. But I'd be asking myself, what are my other options? And if they are, I need to weigh those before I even just kind of give in to New England. Because I think when he knows it's in New England, it's a stable environment, stable coach. But what about the team? And what are we going to do? Am I just going to go collect a check, keep my pension rolling? Or what is the purpose in this next step of my career?
Yeah, somebody asked me about could he play under Belichick and can Belichick handle him? I'm like, let me remind you that Belichick coached Lawrence Taylor. And if you can handle Lawrence Taylor, by all means. you can handle DeAndre Hopkins. And it's a stable system. It's a stable system. Like I said, the only thing that I'm really concerned with is the quarterback play. Can Matt Jones get the ball to DeAndre Hopkins? He said one of his requirements was a quarterback that's passionate about the game of football. Have no doubt that Matt Jones is passionate about football, but that doesn't always translate to talented. Is he talented enough to play with a talented player like DeAndre Hopkins? So that's something, if you want to speak to more of it, that's something that I see right away with this potential merger between the two parties.
No, I agree with you 100%. I think, like you said, he does want to play with a guy that really appreciates the game, but it might just be a talent level too. Like you said, where's he going to go? I mean, I told you before, you mentioned Cleveland. You didn't like that. Nobody else, a lot of people don't like that because of the situation.
I liked it, but it's like, if it happens, it'll be great. But can Cleveland get to that point where they're making the playoffs, that they're making a run for a Super Bowl? That's one of the things. And then you got, Deshaun Watson, and then you add this to the mix. I don't know if the folks in Cleveland, Ohio can handle it.
I think if they win ball games, like I told you, they can handle it. They start winning ball games, and nobody's on the police blotter. Say what you want to. They were like, oh, okay. Well, you know what? He ain't that bad. He was misunderstood. That type thing. When you start winning, all of a sudden you misunderstood, right?
Yeah.
He come in and turn his life around because we're a city of the people. We appreciate the men that give our second chance. You're gonna hear this long soliloquy and the long, the drawn out song of can we just be friends?
Yeah.
Why can't we just be friends? Something to that effect. But winning cures a lot of stuff, man. It does. I don't care. I mean, granted, DeAndre Hopkins has some things, but nothing that I know of that is too crazy. So again, if they sign him and they start winning ball games, everything you've heard and all the other stuff about their apprehension and whatever is going to go out the window because it's like, oh, well, Cleveland Browns are in first place. Did you ever think that they would blah, blah, blah? You know the story, man. The media can be so damn fickle, and everybody want to jump on the wagon now. They didn't look this good since Brian Sape was there. All the,
Not Brian Sape. The cardiac kids. Oh, wow.
Yes, sir.
Going back.
Mike Phipps. Don't do it.
All right, let's go to Major League Baseball with the Major League Baseball report from Ice Water. There's some teams that really surprised me, Ice, this season. Baltimore really surprised me surprising me this season because they're in second place in the East behind Tampa Bay that kind of got out to a real great head start. You have Arizona out there in the West that is 3 games ahead of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And my papa's complaining like, they can't hold a lead. The Dodgers can't hold a lead. And so I'll be talking to him later this weekend. And it just seems there's a lot of parity in baseball where teams are just either barely over 500 or right underneath 500. You and I had, we text back and forth. I was watching Ohtani in the couple of weeks we were out. And I'm like, oh, there's no way Ohtani's going to stay with the Angels. He has to go somewhere where he can contribute to a World Series because that man is so talented with the pitching and the hitting. I think he leads the league in home runs at this particular point. He's so talented that he's almost kind of wasting away. It would be a shame for him to waste away with the Angels for 10 or 12 years and then get with a contender to get a World Series. But your report.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. But I just hate it when the rich get rich, especially in baseball, because it just keeps going on and on. Other sports I don't have a problem with it, but this is just ridiculous. And he is such a talent. I like to see him on a small market team or a team that he can just help infuse and maybe push over the top that hasn't won in a while. I thought it was the Angels, but that does not appear to be the case. So here we go with the report. In the American League East, we have Tampa Bay is still in first place, ladies and gentlemen. Don't sleep on Tampa Bay. They're a small market team. They don't have a lot of money, but they know how to work things around. Players like to stay in Tampa Bay. They're kind of loyal. And I like the way they play baseball, small market team, and they're first in the American League East, followed by, as mentioned earlier, Baltimore Orioles. And the Yankees are third place, 8 games back. Boston is 14 games back. Gonna be a long season in Boston, I think. Moving over to the Central Division in the American League, Minnesota Twins are in first place. Followed behind them are the Cleveland Guardians, 3 games out. Chicago White Sox are only 6 out. Again, when you look at it from the standpoint of, they talked about the parity and how only one team is paying above 500, and that's Minnesota, who leads that division at this point. Moving over to the West in the American League, you have the Texas Rangers, who lead that division by 3.5 games over the Astros. Pretty good baseball being played in this division. The Los Angeles Angels only 4.5 out. See, this is what's very frustrating, is because of the factor that so close but so far away. And when you're trying to go up against a team like Houston and chasing those guys, and even Texas, you got to put it all together because it's a very tough division. With that being said, it's just very hard to get caught up, if you will. Moving over to the National League in the East, the Atlanta Braves lead that division by 5 with the Miami Marlins, which is very surprising right now.
Yeah.
Miami's trying to play some good baseball. Philadelphia's creeping around 8.5 back. The Mets, you spend a lot of money, 10.5 back. The thing that makes you wonder is, I know that general manager got in some trouble for some drama and stuff that happened long ago. But whoa, do you miss that dude?
Yeah.
You miss that guy, because you need to have him on retainer or something, as long as he's going to his meetings and whatnot, because they miss him badly. Moving over to the Central, another division where not a lot of great baseball being playing right now. Pittsburgh leads that division by 1.5 over Milwaukee. Milwaukee's at 500. The Reds are 2.5 back. The Reds are playing 485% baseball. It's 485. The Reds are like, 2 games below 500, right? And then you move on further down, 5.5 back at the Chicago Cubs, and they're not doing well. And then the Cardinals, who are 27-42, are only 9 out. Crazy. Not a lot of great baseball over there. All right, moving over to the West in the National League. Those Arizona Diamondbacks are up by 3 on the beloved Dodgers. Pops, this is going to be all right. Calm down. Relax. It's still early, Pops. You know these games don't matter right now. Wait till we get to the All-Star game and see what happens. The Dodgers have this way of playing with us every year with the yo-yo. Can't play with my yo-yo. They go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until they rise up. San Francisco Giants are only 5.5 back. They're 36-32. San Diego Padres 8.5 back. Colorado's bringing up the rear with 13 behind them. But again, it's still early. It's exciting. More than anything, it's exciting for these clubs and their fans that may not make a run in the second half, like Pittsburgh, and we said before, the Baltimore Orioles have been waiting for a long time. Maybe Cal Ripken's coming back, but a lot of teams have been waiting a long time to be relevant. It's good for their fans right now that their teams are playing halfway decent baseball, but we know what the inevitable usually happens in the second half. So right now, enjoy the teams, enjoy the baseball. Check out Ohtani with the Angels looking for some good baseball players. The Reds have just caught up a young stud that's doing real well for them last 3 or 4 games, catching while he's hot. There's a lot of good young players that are out there playing baseball. And one last thing. I'll leave that for my party shot. I won't even put that out there. I'll talk about that later.
All right. And it's an exciting time for baseball because a lot of teams are still in the running in their division. And so I know we're going to be away for the summer, but it should be interesting when we come back where everybody is and who's making a race to get to the playoffs at that particular time. So the Vegas Golden Knights win the Stanley Cup 4-1. I'm not a big hockey guy. I promised myself I was going to watch this, but I couldn't really catch the games. But what are your thoughts? Because this team has been in the league for 6 years, and they seem to be dominant. They seem to have the formula to get to the Stanley Cup.
Now, one thing they did when they got this franchise, got the brand new franchise, they went out and found them veteran leadership and the general manager, found some veteran leadership and coaches. They made some changes as well. And they also brought in some players that really could provide a solid foundation. And I think they're reaping the benefits of that early on. You said 6 years in, even if they're first, second, or whatever, I think this is their first time. I think they made the Stanley Cup final in their first season. So I think
Okay.
this is their first title. But regardless of the fact, it's still impressive. They look real good. And it's great, I think, for the NHL. And great as Vegas, right? So we know how that it goes. But it's great to see another kind of young franchise come in and use the talent they have the right way, spend money the right way, organize their franchise the right way, so they can be very competitive. I think it's great because now it's going to have the traditional franchises and others as well have to step up their game.
Yeah.
If you want to be relevant, the Washingtons of the world, we know Ovechkin's getting a little older and a little longer in the
Or the original six, where have they
exactly.
been?
Yeah. You know, Chicago, we know what's going on there too. I mean, you got to look at Florida. Florida gave all they had, did real well. Bob out there, they used to be with the Columbus Blue Jackets, and he gave all he had, but you just got to take your hat off to Las Vegas. Again, they played hard, they played strong, they won some very impressive matches, and they did all they needed to do to win. It's gonna be very interesting because I like hockey. I love playoff hockey, first of all, okay? Because I live in a city where we do have hockey, but I love playoff hockey because, like anything else, the athletes come out, they play real hard, they give it all that they have, and the intensity of the play just picks up dramatically. If you want to see the best of the best in something, watch the finals or the championship rounds or something. There's little room for error or mistakes, and that's what I love to watch these guys compete in this type of scenario.
One more thing about this is that I think the Boston Bruins were the team that people thought that was going to run away with this because of the season they had, and I often hear from sportscasters who follow hockey that it's not always the best team during the regular season that actually wins the Stanley Cup, and I was very surprised because the way they were running through the regular season, to me it was like a foregone conclusion that they would just take the Stanley Cup with no problems at all. But they fell to the dirt very early on in the playoffs.
No, I agree with that. I think part of it, though, as you said, when you go to the postseason, the playoffs, almost in anything, particularly with hockey, the team that gets hot during the postseason, and they get runs, and they start feeling really good, when they start having great chemistry and moving forward, and just start eliminating individual opponents and teams, it goes a long way. And I think that's why you saw Las Vegas catch fire. Once they got fired, got that confidence going, they would not be denied. So I think it's great for hockey. Again, Las Vegas are winning the way that they did. And teams are going to have to make some changes and come up, including the original six, because no longer can you take it for granted that the original six are going to be in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Right. Let's go. Instead of doing questions from the squad, we got some topics that we want to hit that have been we've been chopping at the bits to get. Zion Williamson, all kind of trouble, women trouble, and now we know why he can't get on the court. It's food and booty. So now they're talking about the New Orleans Pelicans and saying, hey, if you give us a trade offer, we'll trade this dude because he's. It sounded like with the New Orleans Pelicans. He's more trouble than it's worth at this particular point. And them boys from South Carolina, and first you have Ja Morant, now you have, Zion Williamson. Give me your thoughts on this, man.
Yeah, it's very difficult because I know that the Pelicans came in with the right attitude, thinking he was going to be a franchise-changing player. And you ask anybody in the league, any team, they would have taken him, okay? Because he's supposed to be a can't-miss prospect. But when you get a little money in your pocket and you start eating the wrong things and you stop not working out because everybody telling you how great you are, it can have a factor and play a factor in how you go about the business. And right now the Pelicans are probably just fed up because they've done everything they can. I mean, it reminds me, I remember when Bill Walton was supposed to be hurt and he went out to the Clippers, he couldn't play anymore. Then all of a sudden he's revamped his career playing in Boston. And like nothing ever happened. So it might the New Orleans Pelicans might actually be better off by getting a ransom's fee. I wouldn't give them up for just anything. I would try to get something major so I can help my team because they're not a bad team. They have a lot to work with, and if he doesn't want to be there, he wants to trade him. You got to get something seriously back. I think whoever the general manager is down there, I don't know if Griffin's still down there or not, but you got to make sure that you get the value of it right now, because it's just not working. And when off the court situations, my question is, when are you gonna ever learn?
Yeah.
That's that, and I know they're young, but you gotta have some old uncles somewhere around there going, all right now, you know she just coming for this and that and that. And my last thing is, gentlemen, put the phones away, bro. Anything that goes out on social media stays on social media. It does not go away. Be smarter.
Now, you and Black got on me about this when he first got drafted by New Orleans. I'm like, wow, I don't think this is a spot for him because it's good food and them women in New Orleans don't play. those women, if they want you, they're gonna get you. And sure enough, here are the two pitfalls that really got him. I think he needs to get out of New Orleans, get to some place where it's more organized. I don't know if another team will be able to fix this, but maybe it'll shake him up to the point where, like, listen, you got one last shot to do this, or you're gonna eat your way or screw your way out of the league, and you're gonna have a whole bunch of child support if you don't make a lot of money. So either you get your fat ass in shape and start taking this seriously, or you're gonna be Where Are They Now? Episode of ESPN on the 30 for 30. Not even the 30 for 30 for 2 hours, 30 for 30 for a half hour, because your career is not that long. So you gotta wake up. You gotta wake up with this. This is ridiculous, man. And I was rooting for him to be drafted by the Knicks, and I'm like, whoo, we dodged the bullet. But maybe he goes. Maybe he goes to the Knicks. This is a project that the Knicks will pick up. They usually pick up projects like this, and who knows?
Hey, I tell you what, please trade for him. Please. For the betterment of the NBA.
Yeah.
We got Barnett there, Barrett, I'm sorry, his buddy. Please do this because New Orleans deserves better. I saw Zion play this year, probably one of the few games he played the whole year. I remember
you telling us that. Yeah.
I was in San Antonio visiting family, and he had 31 points. He had a double-double, and he looked like amazing, like the Zion we're looking at. But if he doesn't want to be there, and let's quit putting this on New Orleans, okay? New Orleans can't help it that they have fine women, and then also they got good food.
Lord knows they can't.
Hey, did Chris Paul love New Orleans when he was down there, was starting out his career? Anthony Davis loved his career down there in New Orleans. So let's not put that on New Orleans. Let's put it on somebody that just don't want to do the work, doesn't want to come in and put what he's supposed to do. You talking about the mojo and put the mojo, put the hex on them and voodoo and all that stuff. Put that Haitian connection. And Haitian folks don't get mad at me because I said that about Haiti, because I got Haitian roots, so don't do it. All right, I know what I'm talking about. So anyway, it's just that point of New Orleans deserves better. He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to get in shape. Send him to the Knicks and bring Barrett. Who else? Pete Randall.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Look, they don't want Randall. Randall will not do well. So some draft picks and some other young guys, and then y'all can have him. Y'all can move on. So the Knicks going to take. You wanted him, you can have him.
I don't think they want him now.
What? He can't help you out if you get him in shape.
I mean, if we keep some of the major players, yeah.
Like
but he got to be with his boy Barrett to somebody to watch him. Somebody.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You can't get rid of the point guard. Randall, I don't know. People are sour on him to the playoffs, but I would keep Randall. It's got to be some draft pick. Yeah, I would keep Randall. It got to be some draft picks. It got to be some players that are Josh, the guy they picked up from Portland. You got to keep him. Got to keep him. You got to keep some major clogs, but draft picks, future draft picks, fine. But
sounds like a third team needs to be involved as well.
Yes, exactly. But the Knicks don't get him, I'm not going to be mad because this guy hasn't shown me that he could be a professional yet. Maybe they can get him there, and maybe they can show him and keep him under tight wraps to make sure he does this. All right, the PGA and the LIV, the Live. I know you wanted to talk about this, and how can you, if you're the PGA, the players who decided, hey, we're going to stay, we're going to be loyal to the PGA, and then the PGA was like, this is what I think they were pushing for in the get-go. Like, we can cause your life, give your life a living hell if you're trying to buy us out. So let's come together and make money together. And I said when this happened, you text me, I said, it must have been a lot of money to get the PGA to say, you know what, let bygones be bygones, and let's be one big happy family. And the players must feel real betrayed with this because they gave up a lot of money when the Saudis were offering all this money at first and said, I'm going to be loyal. But as we say in the hood, they ain't loyal. They ain't loyal. Take the money and run. Your thoughts?
Yeah, this is crazy because when I heard that, I was like, nah. I had to read it again. I didn't believe it. I'm like, nah, not the PGA, not the sacred PGA that would not let certain people of color in their country club so they couldn't play for the longest time. Not the PGA. But anyway, that's another thing I'll bring up in February during Black History Month. Anyway, but but the real deal is, I'm not surprised. Why are we so surprised? Other organizations do the same thing. The PGA thought they were all this and that. Oh, we're going to shut Live down. Liv's like, you going to do what? We have real money. Liv just said, look, we're going to still be around. We got all these tournaments. PGA was like, oh, we're going to shut you out. We're not going to let your players come. Liv said, okay, when you stop whining and stop crying, talking about how horrible we are, give me a number. I said, what are you talking about? Well, no, we're going to stand on our own. God said, I'm going to ask you one more time. Give me a number. What is it going to cost for me to take this whole damn thing over, put y'all in a good light? Well, we have morals and standards, and we test the time. We got Jack Nicklaus behind us. We got Rory McIlroy behind us. Tiger's on our side. Okay. Besides all that BS, what is the damn number for us to get this together so we can put this all together and show y'all how to run this thing? And the man had to come off the chairman or the commissioner, Monahan, I think his name is, had to come in with his leg between, tail between his legs, and just had to bow down. Because my man said he had to bow down. My man said, I told you, what is the number? And he says, no problem. In fact, I got a larger number. And for those that are thinking that, the poor players will be betrayed, man, be quiet. That's how they run the game. NFL does it. NBA, when they want to do it, everybody does it, bruh. And let's keep it real. The players, even though these great golfers, they're pawns.
Yeah.
The PGA is good. You don't like it? Where you going to play at now? There's no more Live. Live is with them. So where you going to go? Somewhere else? Somewhere overseas that ain't paying no money? It's all about the money. So the players will get over it. The players, they will probably do something for them to feel a little better, give them a little bonus. Plus, too, now the purses are going to go out the roof because Liv has the money. So you need to enjoy it. You can be mad, get frustrated all you want to, but Liv is here. They're probably going to save golfing to a point where it's going to be larger than what it was. Now you might have other young people that want to golf now because of the amount of potential money they can make.
So I want to golf. I'm going to tell you, get your clubs out, man. We're going on the tour, bro.
Yeah. So, I just find it ironic that when these organizations that have millions and billions of dollars come together and think about themselves and not the players and also the fans that are connected to them, when they do these things, why are we so shocked?
Right.
Seriously, oh my God, it ain't sacred no damn more. They put the bag down, baby. Say what you want to. You talk about selling out, they sold out. They brought 3 bags to the table. Go. What you need? You good? What? Well, I had to check. Who you gonna check with? Put them on conference call right now. We got everything. That's, to me, and this is my last point on this. That was straight gangster. Yeah. Gangster Chronicles in front of your face. We coming in, we taking over. Gangster. Get in line. Give me a cup of coffee. Straight gangster, bro. Right in front of your face. Everybody get your ass in line. I ain't gonna tell you what it looked like. I'm gonna leave that alone for another day. Straight
Right.
gangster.
Let's go to our last story with Coach Prime. And the Colorado Buffaloes football schedule came out, and I was like, "Woo! Wait a minute! You know, they're not easing Coach Prime into this at all. They start out with TCU, TCU. Okay, they play Colorado State, USC, Stanford, Oregon State, Nebraska, Oregon, Arizona State, UCLA. I mean, a murderous row in those 3 games. I mean, wow. And then Arizona and then Utah is nothing to sneeze at the end of the season. Ooh, this is I'm gonna keep an eye on Colorado, but this is a schedule right here. They ain't playing. Either you put up or shut up, Coach Prime. That's what they're saying to you in this schedule.
No doubt. When you look at that schedule, when I saw it, I mean, people just catching on to it now. I saw it earlier. I was like, woo, buddy. We're gonna see if the coach's quarterback son, what he made of.
Yeah.
Because as you mentioned, there's some very good teams on that schedule. Oregon always brings it. We know what USC is gonna be like. Oh my God. Yeah. Woo! UCLA is not bad.
No.
Arizona State, and like I said, Utah. Man. So hey, Deion said he doesn't mind the spotlight. He gonna get it. And hey, I hope for him that he proves that he is the coach we think he is.
Yeah.
But if you want to be on this level, this is what you're gonna have to do. Particularly you want to be a team that leads. I mean, all you gotta do is think about what in this situation, next year or so, UCLA and USC will be gone.
To the Big Ten.
The Big Ten, yeah. So that might be helpful there. But this year, gonna take your lumps, baby.
They're gonna want to go out with a bang. They don't want to go out with a whimper. Those 2 teams, because they're leaving that conference. So they want to go out on good measure. They probably want to win the conference, and that's probably their goals. So we're going on our hiatus, and I wanted to do this. What was the most memorable story of the season that you still remember that we did this season?
Oh my God.
I know mine. I knew mine right away when I put this question. I had to think about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I know who this is.
I don't know. Maybe you come back to me. I'm gonna let you go, and I'll give me a few minutes to think about
I got to give it to the man of the year, the brother who put everything in his mama name. Put everything in his mama name in the divorce, and his ex-wife did not get a dime. Matter of fact, he got half of her stuff. So that was the most memorable story. I have to go back to. It's not sports on the field related, but it was one of the most savviest moves, and it made not only the sports news, but it made international news. But that should be a lesson to all those guys signing those big time contracts, and then all these women are going around trying to sniff out who they're going to get it back from. Zion Williamson. Put everything in your mama name, and so that when you get hooked up, married or whatever, you can kind of have a safe house where you can say, hey, I don't own anything. So I thought that was textbook. I'd never heard that before, but I got to give that brother, and I can't call his name right now. I got to give that brother. You all know what I'm talking about. Man of the year, man of the decade, if I had a choice. But what's your story?
Yeah, my story though is a little different from the standpoint of we're talking about NCAA basketball. Black Thor won our tournament because it was so wild and did not. I mean, we won outright, but because it was so wild and you had so many different teams up there, like San Diego State making the Final Four and Florida Atlantic and things like that. But that's not the point I want to make. The point I want to make is the factor that the women's basketball tournament was more exciting than the men. And also it drew more eyes. We had a lot more controversy from Iowa's the darling ladies to LSU with their swagger, to South Carolina losing there was so many eyes and so many young ladies that got a lot of attention and were lived in the moment. And we had some great basketball games. And I think now, based on that tournament, and then you also add in the factor that they were able to get their money, right, for the NIL, a lot of things coming up. I think that's going to be a catalyst for future women's basketball tournaments. And I think they're going to build on it because now you're seeing teams move around where players are transferring, going to certain schools and trying to build up on. LSU picked up some more players, and it's just going to be crazy. I think it's going to, it kind of blew up. So now we get to watch Iowa again because we know Miss Clark is going to be out there. Everybody's going to be watching her. There's so many other teams that are going to be better. I think women's basketball, college basketball is about to explode. I think they're going to be able to build off of the tournament. A lot of good things are going to be happening in the future. People are really excited to watch the games. Very competitive. A lot of players with swagger, maybe too much for some, but it was exciting and they were competing.
Get used to that. Get used to
it. Yeah. With the NIL and everything and people getting their money to just do a lot of excitement. I think somewhat a little bit more exciting than the men's because of the controversy around whatever. And I think it's just great, good competition. And I think it's going to be built up on as well because people are going to be looking for UConn to try to make a run back when they get their injured players back. But some of these teams are not going to be denied. I think South Carolina is going to be around for a while. LSU now, of course, we know that's going to happen there. And so many other teams are building up their resumes, even the likes of Ohio State University, picking up some quality transfers, trying to build up on what they're doing. I think it's about to explode. I think it's going to be getting even better. I'm going to be watching more of the women's games. Like I said, last year they had me hooked. I had to find my way to even if I was in the car, I was listening to it on the radio. It's because that's how good the games were.
Wow, didn't realize they were on the radio. I know we're gonna be on hiatus, so catch us in September. But we're gonna continue the boxing shows because we got some big bouts coming up during the summer. One of the things I want to say to this is that I didn't even know this was happening. I just saw a piece of video with Floyd Mayweather fighting John Gotti III, and they're getting into a scuffle at the end of the fight. Floyd, stop it. Come on, man, stop it. You know, you're saying that you're as great as some of the boxers that have come before you, but this is behavior, the exhibitions and things that you're doing is, to me, honestly, to me, and maybe you don't even care about it, but it's tarnishing your legacy, in my opinion. So please, bro, for boxing, for yourself, for your family, I know you still feel like you can fight and all that other stuff. That's cool. But stop it, man. Stop it. This is not a good look for you in the sport of boxing. I even have friends texting me like, boxing is dead, boxing is a joke. Stop. This is what you're doing. This is what people are saying. So I know you probably don't care because you make so much money, but try to leave it better than you found it, as the old folks used to say.
I mean, Floyd, you had to also understand too that people are frustrated by your success. And when these guys get in the ring with you, they think that you're human in regards to the skill set they have. And this can be nothing but an explosion. And just to watch that aftermath after the fight where all these people came in the ring and just tried to take over was just madness. I think that's kind of crazy. One other note, as we go on hiatus, I'm not a big proponent always about video games, ladies and gentlemen, but I want to put out this one thing. Talk about MLB, the show 23. I'm a baseball guy, from way back. And I don't think if I do own a video game, I can't tell you the last time I did buy a baseball game. It's been mostly pretty much Madden, right? And NBA, whatever, 2K, whatever have you. But recently I purchased MLB 23, the show. And the reason why I did that is because they made a conscious effort to do something I thought was amazing. And I actually played the game. It's the reason why I bought the game. They have included a select few of Negro League baseball players. And you're able to see, like, there might be 10 players on there that they literally go through different chapters. And you have to go through practice with them. You get to play with them. 10 different chapters showing their story, telling their story and how great they were and watching them evolve. It is amazing. For those that I've been to the Major League, Negro League Baseball Museum. I've always wanted to know more. To see more. And the way that they tell these stories about these gentlemen are amazing. And it's like watching something evolve in front of your face. Something it's like watching somebody you wanted to see and perform in person forever, and you never got the chance because you didn't grow up in that era. And one of the greatest stories on this thing, and the reason why I bought it, was Satchel Paige is featured. There's like 10 different short little chapters, and they show him they show his, the way that he, his facial expression, the way he will play, way he came across. And you get to pitch with Satchel Paige. He has 105-mile-per-hour fastball. And his control is amazing. And it's like, man, I was so happy just so to be able to see that. To me, it's a collector's item. I will keep it. And I think as you move forward, as you play a certain amount of games, you can literally use these players like in games against major league players and whatnot. It is a can't miss product, particularly for me, because I love Negro League Baseball. I'm so happy they finally put out something that makes me go, damn, I can watch that over and over because they're little clips talking about how great they were. They have also film footage, actual film footage of them playing and telling you about Satchel Paige and some of the other players as well. An amazing effort by them. If you like baseball, you love the Negro Leagues baseball at all, I encourage you to pick this up if you're a game player or whatever. But it is an amazing product. I can't say that again more. And we'll see you guys next time. But like I said, I'm glad I made the purchase.
Yeah, I got a copy. When you told me about it the other day, I'm like, I got to get it. I got to get it. There's no doubt about it. We will see you on the boxing show, but we will see you on this show in September. Have a great summer.
Black Thor coming.